So in this episode, I want to talk a little bit more about my older brother, Bill. And first off, I just want to say that he is a very kind and gentle soul, a very humble person. And musically, I find he has a lot to offer. Even though our styles are very different, our interests are very different as far as the types of genres we're into. He likes 70s and early 80s type rock, gospel, a little bit of jazz, that kind of stuff. And for the most part, that isn't my forte, with the exception of some of the jazz stuff. But I found that he understands music and music theory well enough that he is able to adapt and come into the work that I'm doing and play the supportive role that I ask of him at times. And he does a really good job of it. So, and in that way, I also kind of look up to him because I don't have the formal training. And so there are times where I'll actually look to him for advice on chord progressions or what types of chords and notes would fit well with what I'm trying to do. And he has good insights to offer. So it's always been a pleasure working with him. And despite the fact that he's my brother, or not despite the fact, but other than the fact that he's my brother, he's my friend. And so now I want to just show you a little bit of him and I working together on a song called I Exalt Thee. So before we get to Bill's part on this song, I'm going to show you me developing my part so I can kind of kill two birds with one stone with this episode. You've watched me develop some piano work, but we've shown you Michael, we've shown you Jim, there's others that I'm going to be showing you as well, but I haven't shown you any of my work developing the guitar. And on the A Light in the Storm album, there's a point where I recorded the guitar in the studio, but all of the acoustic guitar work, with the exception of this one tune, was all recorded in my home studio. So I did all of that on my own. So this was more of a to save time kind of scenario, because I was trying to get things done before the release date. I went ahead and came into the studio on this one tune and recorded my guitar. So this is the one time you get to see me in the studio doing some recording work. And then after I get that finished, then we'll show you how I brought in Bill and how the two get combined to create this wonderful version of I Exalt Thee. So check it out.
Acting, take two.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I can do it as genuine as Hi, so we're in Studio B today. I have to record a piano piece that I'm doing myself for a song called I Exalt Thee. And we're using Studio B because the piano in here sounds a little bit softer and a little bit better than the one down in the basement. And so we're actually above ground now. We're not in the basement anymore. And got Clark in here working at the helm. He's going to be doing the recording work. If you look out there, you can see the piano that I'll be using. And this is also the piano that I'm going to be recording Jean-Pierre tomorrow on for a song called Let God Arise. And so we're really looking forward to that. So this is kind of the tester, have me do this one today. So when he comes in, it's all ready to go. So let's get to work. Does that sound to you, Clark? So on my version of this tune, I Exalt Thee, it was recorded in 3 sessions. First, I had to practice the piano and get that to the place where I could record it. And it was a very short piece, but a very necessary part of the intro of that song. Oops. I'll start that over. So what you see me doing here is I'm recording that intro. The person on the camera is Michael Gunderson. If you remember him from an earlier episode, the young man who played bass and French horn, Well, all of this was done in the same day. If you remember from his episode how it was talking about how we were incredibly ahead of schedule, this was the first thing that we did that day before we got to his session. And so he was generous with his time to help me record this. It might be good to also get some keys. And it's very short. It's like 30 seconds. So.
All right.
And the video footage you're seeing here is what is used for the music video, as well as the video footage for the guitar work, which comes right after this. That was a good pass. Didn't you feel it? So after we got the piano recorded, we went into the other studio. There's a Studio A, which was upstairs, and then a Studio B, which was down in the basement. So we got the piano done, and then we went into Studio B to start recording the guitar. But before we do that, here's a quick question that Clark asked me during my interview. Check it out.
What is music?
That's
How do you think of it? What do you think it is? What is it that makes music important, emotional, communicative? What is it that makes it possible for us to connect with each other through music, non-verbal? I'm not talking about songs. I'm talking about melody, harmony.
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons why music produces emotion and feeling. I don't remember what it was, but I was watching something one time on I think it was Discovery Channel. It was a study that they had on how certain frequencies and sounds affect people physically. So there's that aspect of it. Sometimes certain sounds produce feeling and emotion, and how you combine sounds or arrange sounds like different instruments, whether it's piano or the guitar or the keyboard or voices. The way that you arrange the sounds to create one unified sound, I think, creates emotion. And I think it takes a certain kind of person to understand that dynamic and understand what it is people are wanting to hear, and work to produce those sounds that produce those feelings. And I think for me, the way that it connects with people is that, I operate under this assumption that people are generally good, and that we care about the fellow person next to us, even if we don't know them. And I think that out of that caring, there's this natural desire that I think most of us are born with, that we want to somehow affect others in a good way. And so it's taking a combination of that talent of knowing how to mix or manipulate or create sound to affect someone in a positive way is kind of the goal for me. And there's also, I think, a spiritual aspect to it. A lot of people have different beliefs. Me personally, I believe that God has given me some gifts of being able to hear and arrange things that a lot of people don't normally hear. A lot of people aren't normally able to do that. It's kind of a different approach to music than a lot of people take. And my passion comes from my inspiration and my faith in God. And I feel that He blessed me with a lot of different talents, not just be able to play music and not just be able to arrange music, but also to understand the human element and understand people and their emotions and what it is that I need to somehow produce to create a positive experience for the listener. And that's in that way I'm able to connect with them and accomplish my God-given mission, so to speak. What I feel that one of the things I was created to do was to share these gifts that was given to me to help minister to and affect others in a positive way, and that's a strong desire inside of me. So. Just give me a thumbs up when you're ready. So just like with Michael or with Jim, you can see that any musician that comes into the studio to record an instrument or a vocal, it has to be very precise and exact. We're looking for the perfect take so that when it goes on to the album, which is permanent, it is as perfect as we can make it. And this is a process every musician goes through. Oops, I'll start here. Alright, I'm going to cut that. Can I start again from the top? Okay. Say when. Okay. You'll notice here that I don't have any headphones on or any earplugs in, and the reason for that was I decided that I wanted to use this footage for the music video, so this recording session is one that I do without headphones. There was no other accompanying instruments at this point. This would be the first instrument of two, and then Bill's keyboards would come in after this. So when I was playing the piano and while I'm recording the guitar here, no headphones for the video. I've got sticky.
I think you've actually got that part pretty good.
Yes.
I think you've got a couple good takes of it.
I got some stickies going on.
Yeah, we gotta bring some talcum powder next time.
Yeah.
I used to carry that around with me, especially in the summer. I carry it around.
Every time I want to slide or move, my fingers are sticking.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, but the one thing I would like is that very last chord. If we could get a clean one of that, and do kind of hold your breath there.
This one?
Whatever's the very last chord.
Okay.
Everyone I've got is like. Like, thank
Gotcha.
God I'm done.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, absolute silence. So this brings up an interesting point. Sometimes recording, when you're recording like a piano or a guitar or something that you have to mic, you have to be really careful because background noise can creep in really easily. These mics are very, very finely tuned, and they pick up the smallest things. Example of that, when I was working on the Christmas CD, and this is actually a pretty funny story, I was working in the basement of the house I lived in at that time, and I had the mic gain tuned up so that you could hear every note of the guitar very clearly. But unfortunately, there was some background noise that I was hearing when I had the headphones on. And I was like, what is that sound? So I listened really carefully and was able to track that sound upstairs. It was the refrigerator in the kitchen. Now when it would kick on, I could hear it over the headphones from that mic that was recording my guitar. And so it was screwing up my recording, and I had to get rid of that noise. So I went upstairs and unplugged the fridge just so I could finish my recording. And so then the very next day I get this phone call from Shauna, and she goes, "Something's wrong with the fridge. It's not turning on." And I'm like, oh no. And I go, is it warm inside? What is it? She goes, all the food we just bought yesterday is spoiled. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So we had just gone grocery shopping and I killed all the food so that I could do my recording. Fortunately, through the duration of that Christmas project, that only happened 3 times. So anyway, in this recording, doing I Exalt Thee, Clark was just saying I kept breathing at the end. So I'd play the final note of the song and you want to let it ring out into silence and then you fade it out. Well, at the end I'd get done and then I would just do that and it was coming into the mic. And so what I had to do basically was hold my breath, play the last chord until I could hear that the guitar was completely done ringing out and it was dead silent. And then I could breathe. So that's what was going on there. Check it out. Okay, here we go. So now that we have my piano part recorded and my guitar part recorded, my older brother Bill actually has something to play to now. So let's get to Bill.
Hello, my name is Bill Heston, and I'm Jeremie's older brother, and I'm going to be playing keyboards on his version of I Exalt Thee.
Okay. This is for timing purposes.
Ready?
Go.
Now I actually didn't record any video of Bill recording his part on this song, but what you do have here is some footage of Bill recording his portion for the music video. And the way I did that was, from the previous sessions you saw the recordings of me recording the piano and recording the guitar. I edited those to the finished tune, at least my section of the finished tune. And then you can see in the corner there, that video is playing for Bill to watch. And he is playing along with the tune. And as he does that, we're capturing him playing the chords, and this is his portion of the music video.
Go ahead and start it over. You just can't make any faces.
Right. Ready?
Yep. I don't care what happens. Keep a straight face.
As we record this video and Bill plays along with the song, you can hear me giving him verbal cues and directions, because I am basically like a director in this moment directing a movie.
Alright, go. Just keep in mind with this particular pass, I'm going to be moving around. Oh, this is a really pretty shot.
Another interesting thing about shooting this type of video is you're not actually shooting it for sound at all. You're only shooting it for the visual. This video is actually muted, and the professionally edited finished song will be edited into the video. So that's all you're going to hear is the music playing, and then you'll be able to see the video synced up with that audio. So any background noise doesn't really matter because the video will be muted.
Alright, and I'm going to say this in the camera as a cue for myself on the video editing. Play that last chord with both hands, so for video purposes we can see you playing the chord. On 3. 1, 2, 3. And then just hold it. We won't be able to hear that truck in the video. And I'll fade you out. That's good. Thank you.
What were your likes or even dislikes? Particular high points for you, or particular problems or things that you found annoying?
Well, you know, I was kind of given a template type of format to what I was doing, but at the same time I was allowed enough creativity and freedom to express it, you know, however I felt was necessary. And there were some points there where things really came together in terms of harmonies and chording and just, you know, applying that extra layer in just such a way that it really enhanced what was going on.
So were you in pretty early in that process? Or at least some of them?
Yeah, actually, I did a couple of different tracks on different songs, but I can't really say there was any dislikes that I'm aware of. Except maybe it wasn't my project. No, I'm kidding, but
You've got so. And how was it working with Jared? I mean, were you like together in the same room, or did he give you a track and you filled it out, or?
No, we laid everything down together, so we had a pretty good idea of where we wanted to go as we were doing it. So
Do you find him easy to work with in those?
Oh, absolutely. We think a lot alike, you know, in that sense. So
Is there a particular moment that you think is good in that process that comes to mind? I mean, because I know every now and then, you know, it's when you're in that kind of collaboration, and I just love it when you kind of look at each other and you go, that's it.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's, you know, aside from the sibling relationship that already exists, I mean, there's a type of bonding, I would say, that goes on when you're collaborating on music together and things come out the way you want them to. Yeah, it's definitely it's like a milestone, you know.
So you feel pretty happy with how everything?
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure to be a part of this.
So where did you record your parts?
Actually, we did most of it at Jeremie's house, you know, in his music room. So
Is that a good place to work?
yeah, actually, we were able to clear out times in our schedules to where it was just him and I and nobody was around, so that made it nice. A lot easier to focus on what you're doing if there's no distractions.
No crying babies or door-to-door salesmen.
Exactly.
Now that you've heard the final mixes, what do you think? Is there any surprises? Is things working out? Were you?
You know, it's sounding a lot like I thought it would, because Jeremie and I've communicated a lot about how he wanted to end up. So it was just kind of neat to see it all come together. It's a long process, but it's rewarding in the end.
Jeremie seems to have a pretty good idea of what he wants things to sound like. You know, he's not there. There are people who go into the studio to form their music. You know, they kind of like they bring in a little bit of a song and they'll say, okay, let's see what we can do with it. My impression is Jeremie's more like, here's my song and here's what I want it to sound like. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm that way too, because, you know, as we all know, time is money, and I think it's better to walk into a situation like this ready to go. You know, I mean, if you want to go the other route, that's fine, but you're going to spend a lot of time and money trying to figure out what you want to do, and it's just better to be more prepared, I think, at this phase. So
I'd like to hear how you put it. What are the elements that need to be involved in order to make this music emotionally involving for the audience?
Well, I would say in relation to this project particularly, you know, there's all the aspects of the instrumentation, how you play the instruments. Obviously, the arrangement is a big key into how you create an environment for a response. And being that we're in this particular vein with the church crowd, I'll say, as well as other people that aren't affiliated with that. I mean, this music will be good to touch everybody in some way, and Jeremy and I both feel that it comes from God, and combined with the gifts that we have working together. I mean, it's all from God. So you just kind of have to surrender yourself to that reality, and just kind of go with the flow on how that drives everything you're doing.
That's interesting. So, when that would lead one to think that when it's actually working the best, it might be relatively effortless.
Yeah, it just takes a willingness and an openness, to be able to allow that to flow through you.
And I imagine it helps that you two are related and you have that common experience and you have that common faith.
Mm-hmm.
Does that add something, do you think, to this project, as opposed to, because you must work also with musicians who are maybe don't share exactly your same views, or?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've been on both sides of the spectrum, so I would say absolutely, that plays a big part in it.
Here's what makes this experience in music special for you as an artist, listener, and Jeremie's brother and friend.
Well, there again, I'm not trying to get overly religious or churchy here, but it's really a neat experience to be a part of something that's going to touch so many people on such a wide level, with the music and the message that's in the music. And it's not only inspirational, there's healing properties to it, and just the way it's set up. You just sit there and relax and just kind of forget about everything and let it take over. But yeah, it's been definitely a privilege to have a part to play in all of that. That's huge.
So now that we have my piano, my guitar recorded, and Bill's keyboards in the mix, and all of the video footage captured, I think now is a good time to show you the finished song and music video for I Exalt Thee. So take a look. I hope you enjoyed that video. And now we're at the end of this episode, but I want to just share a little tiny bit of Bill's involvement on that big jam session. So he came in and played keyboard for Let God Arise. And let's just show you a little bit of that before we end this.
Any particular songs or music that stands out for you as being memorable in any way? Or?
No, I really enjoyed the contributions I was able to make with Let God Arise. That's one of my favorite worship songs anyway, just because of the style that it is and the type of message that's there. I mean, it's just really uplifting and upbeat at the same time. So I would say that was probably my favorite one.
So, would you collaborate with Jeremie again if the opportunity?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't hesitate. It's been really good up to this point, and I could just see it getting better as we go.
Hey, Mom. What's up? Thanks, Bill. Yeah, no problem. My pleasure. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Well, is there anything else you feel in your heart to say to Jeremie and the people that enjoy this music?
Yeah, I would just, again, want to acknowledge my appreciation for being included in this project. It means a lot to me. And, everybody involved, I'm sure is going to be blessed in some way. And it's definitely been a pleasure and a privilege, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, I'm quite sure there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be sort of saying the same about you, that, thank goodness that you were involved in the project and how much you brought to it and how much they're going to appreciate your contributions. So I think that's a two-way street.
Yeah, definitely.
Clark is absolutely right. It's a two-way street. And on that note, I just want to say, Bill, thank you for all the years that you have supported me as a brother and how you just selflessly come in and play these supportive roles. And you never ask for anything in return. You're a good man, and I love you, buddy. So thank you so much for what you do and what you continue to do. And I look forward to working with you again. And also, everybody should know that Bill will be returning for a supportive role on a vocal part on the tune Forever Hallelujah. I've mentioned that tune a few times, and you'll be seeing more of that as we get to the end of this episode series. But yes, Bill will be returning, so we can all look forward to that. So that's all I have today. God bless you, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that episode. Real quick, just want to give you some information. If you are looking for these albums, you can find my music on iTunes or Amazon MP3. There's other websites that are available on, but those are the most prominent. You just go into their search engines, you type in Jeremie Heston. My first name is spelled Jeremie, and my last name is spelled Heston. So type those in the search engines and the album should come up and you can download them. They're not very expensive. Also, if you haven't been able to follow every episode of the video series, both season 1 and season 2 are going to be available on YouTube. And you just simply type in Jeremie Heston, My Journey Making Music. and then of course whatever episode number you're looking for. So for example, Jeremie Heston My Journey Making Music episode 1. Type that in and you'll be able to find all of the episodes. Season 1 has 22 episodes, and season 2 I think is going to have 10 or 12 episodes. I'm not sure at this point, but I'll put a little video at the end of those episodes when I get to that. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Thank you for your support, and God bless you.